Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. The Canadians lose, but they lose in the shootout. They get a very necessary point in this second of a back-to-back against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They lose 4-3 in that shootout there. A good game. I mean, I feel like coming into this game, I think generally, all of the pressure was on the Pittsburgh Penguins to get themselves a win. They had lost 7 straight after their first loss to the Canadians on Saturday. So I think kind of the ball was definitely in their court to give the Canadians a push. Obviously, they wanted to get Sidney Crosby his points. He did exactly that in this game to pass Mario Lemieux, which is really awesome to see. Obviously, a really cool thing for him. Obviously, it's a little bit of a bummer that it happens against the Montreal Canadiens, but that's the way things go. So it could be worse. But yeah, I feel like definitely the ball was in Pittsburgh's court to give us a game. They were the ones who needed that win a lot more than we do. Obviously, we need all the points that we can get, but coming away with a point in this one is definitely a good thing, regardless of the fact that we didn't get the win. I think we definitely could have come away with this win, but I feel like it's not. What my point is that it's not necessarily surprising that the Canadians received a lot of push from the Pittsburgh Penguins, who definitely wanted that win there after losing twice and 7 times in a row and twice, already to the Canadians this season. So good to get some points. We end up with 5 out of a possible 6 points in the season series against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We end up with 3 out of a possible 4 points over the weekend. So pretty good stint there. It's good to be, continuing to, climb the leaderboards a little bit, stay in that playoff position that we've earned here over these past couple of games here. I think the Canadians played well, generally speaking. There's definitely some things that could be cleaned up a little bit, obviously a little bit of discipline and all that sort of stuff, but also at the same time, it's like, you're going up against Crosby and you just denied him in a shutout loss on Saturday, denied him of breaking that record. So, I mean, I feel like, it's almost inevitable that he's going to score when he gets those opportunities. The Canadians did get themselves into the penalty box 4 separate times within this game. One of them was a 4-on-4, like offsetting minors kind of situation, but even still, gave Pittsburgh 3 power plays there. They were able to capitalize on one of them. You could be a little bit better there, but generally speaking, I thought it was a pretty okay game. And then it's just, it's good to get that point there. I think we definitely could have won that game at least like 5 separate occasions in the overtime frame. Mike Matheson hit the post pretty early on. Caulfield, Suzuki, Hudson, that crew had a number of great chances. Demidov had a great chance that he instead used to absolutely destroy Shilovs with his shoulder there. So that was kind of a message sender right there. But I think, yeah, like the message is I feel like it was a pretty solid game. Obviously, we lose this one, but the Canadians have definitely had worse losses this season. So we will definitely take that. Oliver Kapanen starts off the goal scoring for the Canadians. He scores his 11th of the season. So very solid for him. He's continuing to be, up in the highest ranks of scoring among rookies here. Slavkovsky gets his 12th assist of the season on that goal. A really nice passing play by the 3 of them. Demidov gets his 20th assist of the season on that one as well. It's a nice little tic-tac-toe goal for the 3 of them to put that one home early. So yeah, a really great goal. Sidney Crosby, however, comes back and scores his 20th goal of the year, which is really, really impressive for Sidney Crosby. Hopefully he'll be scoring goals for us at some point after the trade deadline. I doubt it, but we'll see. And then Rickard Rakell for good measure gets Sidney Crosby that point to go above Mario Lemieux. For most by a Penguin. So a nice little stretch for them there. Obviously, it's tough to go get scored on and then take a penalty and then they score on that power play and all of a sudden you're going into the second period down 1. But a good response there. Obviously, Ivan Demidov scores his 8th of the season from a nice pass, a nice cross-ice feed from Slavkovsky, who gets his 13th assist on the season there, and Oliver Kapanen gets another point there. It's his 8th assist of the season for him. So good play, another great play. I feel like what's been really interesting to see as of late is that second line, a little bit of defensive lapses every once in a while, but when they're on the attack, when they're in the offensive zone, that three of Slafkovsky, Kapanen, and Demonov are really, making things happen in the offensive zone. I really think Slafkovsky is the main driver for that. He's making a lot of chances happen. He's getting a lot of assists because of his efforts there. His goal is really coming on the power play, but it's very, very impressive to see what the three of them are doing. And interestingly, once Slafkovsky comes off of that top line with Suzuki and Caulfield, it feels like that top line doesn't quite produce the way that we'd like them to. It'd be nice if Suzuki and Caulfield could produce a little bit better without Slafkovsky, but it seems like, it's kind of a tough situation. Like, do you take Slafkovsky off that second line to help out the top line and then risk, not getting as many points down there with risk that chemistry being lost between him, Kapanen, and Demidov, or it's definitely a debate. But I think as long as we're having relative success, obviously we lose this game, but a tight game and a very respectable one. So as long as we're still having success, I feel like it's hard to want to make line changes, but we'll have to see what happens there in the future. Noel Acciari gets a goal to make it 3-2 Pittsburgh. A really nice, full ice saucer pass from Chris Letang finds Acciari and puts him in a one-on-one situation against Jack-Eye, and then just kind of rips one into the top corner. Maybe one you'd like to have a save on if you're Dobesh there, but unfortunate. I mean, it happened. I feel like it's possible he just wasn't even really expecting that chance to even happen at all because of that great stretch pass there, and all of a sudden the puck's kind of in the the front in the slot there, and goes in over him. But every once in a while you're going to get scored on. It happens. So no big deal there. And then in the third period, Noah Dobson scores his 6th of the season with assist from Sammy Blais, with his 3rd assist of the season. First point, I believe, with the Montreal Canadiens. So good for him on that one. And Mike Matheson, in only his 2nd game back since his brief little injury stint, gets his 13th assist on the season on that one. So a nice little backhand roofer from Dobson. There was a little bit of goaltender interference going on with Owen Beck there, but it's one of those ones where it's it might get called. It's goaltender interference is as we talked about before, is one of those calls where it's sometimes it'll go in your favor, sometimes it won't. Did he go in on his own? Did he try to get out? How much time had passed? All that kind of stuff. So I understand why Pittsburgh didn't want to challenge that one, but it could have definitely been challenged. It was definitely debatable, but we came away with it, and it gave us the game time goal that sent us to overtime. And yeah, just a nice play there. And Dobson, I like him pinching in on the attack when he's able to, and he's able to make the most of his chance there in front of the net. Scores his 6th of the season there. I believe Noah Dobson's career high in goals is only 10 goals. He's gotten 10 goals in both of the last 2 seasons with the Islanders. So he's definitely creeping closer towards that mark, and we're really not even halfway through the season at this point. So it'd be interesting to see where he ends up point-wise over the course of the year. I think, obviously, as we talked about previously, I don't think Dobson is going to be the kind of guy that he was 2 seasons ago when he got that 70-point season with the Islanders. Obviously, having Lane Hudson on our team and quarterbacking that top power play is going to, handicap him in that a little bit. But I feel like I really like the role that he's kind of playing right now. It's just a very solid, calm defenseman. He's getting those points when we need him to. Obviously, he gets the game-tying goal in that one, so an impressive effort there. But I feel like he's just doing a lot of those intangibles right now that I think is really helping us out in the long term. So good for him on that one. And then, as we talked about earlier in the shootout, in the overtime frame, we had a ton of chances. We had possession for pretty much all of it. There was a little bit of chance near the end for Pittsburgh, but for the most part, I feel like the Canadiens had a lot of those chances. Slafkovsky had a breakaway opportunity. Cole and Lane had some chances there. Lane was pretty much all in alone on the goalie. He was just coming at it from an angle, so didn't really have a whole lot to shoot at there, so he didn't quite get anything past him. but there was a ton of chances that we could have won the game on, but didn't quite go our way. And then in the shootout there, Kevin Hayes and Ricard Raquel both score, which were both really solid goals. Obviously it's you can't really blame the goaltender for letting in a goal in the shootout, regardless. But that's the way it goes. Cole Caulfield scores in the shootout as well, but they outscore us there a little bit. Texier, I just don't really love his effort there. When it works, his shootout move is great. The little like one-hander move, that kind of thing. That one almost seemed like the one he did today. Almost seemed like he did it and then he kind of like wanted to take it back and try to do something else with it, and it didn't quite work out in our favor. So I feel like he's got to find some other move. Otherwise, people are gonna read him a little bit quicker, but. Oh well, but we ended up with a really good point there. I feel like we definitely could have come away with 2 points, especially in the overtime frame. But there were definitely a lot of times, in the second period and a lot of the third period as well. But it felt like the Pittsburgh Penguins could definitely have won that game in regulation. So definitely a plus to get a point out of that one when we didn't necessarily always deserve it throughout the full 60 minutes. So we'll definitely take the points where we get them, especially a game where we get outshot and Sidney Crosby's looking for records, and the whole team is looking for a win because they haven't won in 7 straight games or whatever. So and we're on the road in their barn. So a good effort, all things considered. I think that we'll definitely take those points and run away with them before people catch us and catch us in the standings and all that kind of stuff. So as the standings currently sit, we are only 2 points behind Detroit with a game in hand. We're sitting in second in the Atlantic right now, but hot on the heels is the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have a game in hand on us as well. They're at 41 points here, so a win for them in their next game, tying us in points. Might kind of challenge us a little bit there, especially since they have 4 more regulation wins than we do. And then right on the hot on the heels of us as well is Florida and Boston. Boston with 41, Florida with 40, Ottawa also with 40. So it's really it's very, very tight right now. It is anybody's game in the East, which is why it's very big that we got that 1 point that we did. Would have loved to get a second one as well, of course, but we will take every single point that we can possibly get there. So doing pretty well there. We have a big game coming up. Speaking of the Boston Bruins, we'll be playing them in Boston on Tuesday, 6 p.m. So that'll be a good game there. That is a game that you'd love to get points out of as well, especially considering the fact that Boston is only 2 points behind us right now, and only 2 points behind us is outside of the playoffs right now as well, because of how the Metropolitan Division is shaping up as well. Like every point we get is super, super crucial, because if we lose that game, Boston wins that game, Tampa wins a game, Ottawa wins a game, we could slide all the way back to well outside the wild card spot right now. So every single point is crucial. Every single game is crucial. And really, this is the last game before that Christmas break. We get a couple days off here. The Canadians get like 4 or 5 days off after that game against Boston. We will see Philippe Deneau play his first game for the Canadians. Technically his first game for the Canadians, back in 2016 or whatever, but his first game back with the Canadians since his stint with the LA Kings. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up and affects our lineup, especially considering the fact that Jake Evans is not in our lineup right now. I think we should be hearing news about him and what's going on with his injury in the coming days or even by tomorrow. But I think either way, if he comes back or not, it will be a great addition to have Deneau in the lineup. And it should be interesting to see how he's able to have an impact both offensively and defensively. But that all remains to be seen. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. So hopefully I will see you after another big win on Tuesday against the Boston Bruins.